In the quiet hills outside Austin, Texas, a storm was brewing, one built not of thunder but of greed and concrete. Elias Hawthorne, a widowed federal judge of 65, had traded his gavel for a dream, a 20-acre sanctuary called Haven Hills, a place to honor his son Caleb, who lost his battle with the ghosts of war. Caleb, a soldier scarred by Afghanistan, had dreamed of a refuge where veterans could find peace among horses, where the weight of trauma might lighten under their honest gaze. Elias vowed to make it real, pouring his SAVYNGS and soul into stables and therapy rooms. But he hadn't counted on the VY purse next door. Haven Hills bordered Crest VYEW Meadows, a pristine enclave of cookie-cutter mansions ruled by the Crest VYEW HOA and its puppet master, Sterling Properties. From his porch, Elias could see their manicured lawns and the clubhouse where power plays unfolded. His neighbor, Clara Hensley, a 72-year-old widow with sharp eyes and warm bread, warned him early. "They think they own these hills," she said, her voice low. "Nathan Sterling buys what he wants. If you don't sell, they'll make you wish you had." Elias, seasoned by 30 years on the federal bench, brushed it off. He'd faced mob bosses and corrupt senators. How bad could a neighborhood association be? He was wrong. 2 months into renovations, a letter arrived, stamped with Crest VYEU's ostentatious logo. It accused him of violating HOA rules. His barn's shade of blue was unacceptable. His horses were nuisance animals, and his veteran center was an illegal business. The fines? $500 a day unless he complied. There was one problem. Haven Hills wasn't part of their HOA. His land predated their development, free of their covenants. Elias sent a polite reply with his deed and county records, expecting the matter to die. It didn't. A week later, Arthur Langley, the HOA president, stood in Elias's levying room, his press suit defying the Texas heat. His smile was all teeth, no warmth. "Your project threatens our property values," he said, refusing a seat. "Mr. Sterling has a VY shown for an elite community. Your troubled veterans don't fit." The words, troubled veterans, hit Elias like a slap, but he kept his judicial calm, explaining that his center was fully permitted, a haven for heroes, not a halfway house. Langley's eyes stayed cold. "You'll see things our way, Mr. Hawthorne. Or you won't like what comes next." What came next was a wall. One night, Elias woke to the growl of bulldozers and the clatter of construction. By dawn, a 6-foot brick barrier was rising around his entire property, slicing across his driveway, trapping his vehicles. 20 workers moved like ants, directed by a foreman who shrugged off Elias's questions. "HOA security wall. Talk to management." Langley arrived in a black SUV, flanked by guards. "This is for our residents' safety," he said, smirking. "Of course, if you sell, Sterling Properties would solve your access issues." Elias's voice was steel. "This is illegal, Mr. Langley. You're imprisoning me on my own land." Langley's smile didn't waver. "The courts around here? They tend to agree with us." Elias was caged. His trucks, his equipment, his dreams all locked behind brick. Clara slipped through a gap in the wall that night, carrying groceries and a burner phone. "They'll cut your lines next," she whispered. "They did this to the Thompsons years ago. Code violations, water shutoffs, a wall like this. They sold for pennies." Her eyes burned. "Sterling wants your hills for their fancy clubhouse. They won't stop." As she vanished into the dark, Elias made a choice. They thought they'd cornered a tired old man. They didn't know they'd woken a lion. 30 years on the bench had taught Elias how power worked and how to break it. He launched a drone, capturing footage of the wall's every inch. It wasn't just on his land, it crossed public easements and a county ditch. The cameras atop the wall didn't face how they watched him. This wasn't security. It was surveillance. Elias documented everything, his judicial instincts razor-sharp. Then he called old allies from the federal courts. Within hours he learned Sterling Properties was bleeding cash, overleveraged on Crest VYU's expansion. His 20 acres were the key to their Sir VY Vala luxury clubhouse with hilltop VYUs. Without it, they'd collapse. Elias wasn't alone. He found Daniel Pierce, a farmer who'd sold to Sterling after vandalism, fines, and a double tax bill drove him out. Through Daniel, he met Sarah Tate, a lawyer who'd fought Sterling and lost. "The local judges are bought," she said, her voice bitter. "Judge Carver dismissed my case without a glance. Judge Nolan Sterling's old frat brother." Then came a call from Ethan Langley, Arthur's son, a nervous lawyer in Sterling's legal department. "What they're doing to you's wrong," he said, voice shaking. "They've got a slush fund for bribes, fake documents, recordings of every dirty deal. My father's their pawn. They'll toss him aside when they're done." The wall was complete now, an 8-foot prison with cameras tracking Elias's every move. Arthur offered to buy Haven Hills for 40% below market value. "Generous, considering your situation," he sneered through the gate. Elias refused, promising legal action. Arthur laughed. "Our lawyers are the best, and the judges? They're family." But Elias was building his own army. He invited Sarah and Daniel to his ranch, sneaking them through the wall's last gap. Over dinner, he dropped his bombshell. "I'm not just a retiree. I'm Federal Judge Elias Hawthorne, Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I've put away men like Sterling for decades." Sarah's eyes lit up. "We can go federal, bypass their corrupt courts." Elias shook his head. "Not yet. Let them dig deeper. I want their whole machine." Sterling's machine was vast. Elias remembered Nathan Sterling from a corruption case he judged 10 years prior. Sterling had slipped free on a technicality, but Elias never forgot his face. Now he was back, bolder and sloppier. Elias fed tips to Rachel Moore, a former FBI agent turned reporter at the Austin Chronicle. Her first article on Sterling's questionable tactics sent their stock dipping and local officials scrambling. Sheriff Roy Vance, Sterling's golf partner, slapped Elias with a fake permit violation, stalling his construction. Ethan called, panicked. "That article spooked them. They're doubling down." Sterling tried bribes next, offering 60% of market value. When Elias refused, they smeared him, running ads about dangerous veterans, tanking property values. Elias countered through Rachel, sharing Caleb's story, A Soldier's Dream for a Healing Sanctuary. Her article, with Caleb's photo in uniform, sparked outrage. Veterans rallied, camping outside the wall, tossing supplies over the bricks. Crest VYEW residents split, some clung to Sterling, others whispered dissent. Ethan, risking everything, leaked anonymous letters exposing Sterling's crimes. Then Sterling struck hard. Elias's power and water vanished, caught on camera as HOA goons tampered with his lines. Local police ignored his calls. Clara, trembling, arrived at midnight. "They threatened me, Elias. Said old ladies have accidents if they meddle." Days later, she collapsed from a stroke. The ambulance, blocked by the wall, took a 15-minute detour. Ethan saw it happen. "My father called it collateral damage," he sobbed, handing Elias a flash drive. "Everything's here: bribes, forgeries, recordings of them laughing about your center becoming their clubhouse. End them." Elias's blood ran cold. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was Clara, Daniel, every soul Sterling had crushed. He called Laura Bennett, a federal prosecutor and old friend. The flash drives evidence fraud, racketeering was a goldmine. Elias planned a virtual press conference, but disaster hit. The hospital called Clara needed emergency surgery, and Elias, her medical proxy, had to approve. He ran to the gate, only to be stopped by Sterling's guards. "No exceptions," one growled, hand on a hidden weapon. Elias tried to push past. They shoved him back. Trapped, he called the hospital, his voice breaking. Ethan arrived, disheveled, guilt-ridden. "I'm done being silent," he said. "I'm with you." Elias, fueled by fury, donned his judicial robes and faced the cameras. "I am Federal Judge Elias Hawthorne," he declared to the nation. "For 3 months, I've been imprisoned on my land by Crest VYEW HOA and Sterling Properties in a scheme to steal my property." He laid out the EVY dense illegal construction, utility sabotage, Clara's stroke, Sterling's bribes. As he spoke, FBI agents raided Sterling's offices, seizing records. Nathan and his wife were caught fleeing at the airport. Arthur collapsed in a panic attack during his arrest. Crest VYU's residents, horrified, tore down the wall themselves, wielding sledgehammers as cameras rolled. Veterans flooded Haven Hills with supplies. A retired judge, William Hayes, confessed Sterling had blackmailed him years ago, offering to testify. Clara stabilized, her home now safe. The trial was a spectacle. Nathan and his wife faced 47 counts, from racketeering to CIVYL rights violations, earning 15 years each. Arthur got 7, his cooperation noted but his greed condemned. Ethan, granted immunity, confronted his father in court. "You taught me power was everything. Judge Hawthorne showed me integrity is more." A year later, Haven Hills opened, its equine therapy program healing veterans as Caleb had dreamed. Clara, cane in hand, ran the center. Crest VYU's new HOA, led by Ethan, partnered with the ranch. On opening day, the community built a wall of honor, a garden of stones etched with names of those who fought or fell. Elias returned to the bench but spent weekends at the ranch, guiding veterans. The case sparked the Hawthorne Act, curbing HOA abuses nationwide. Sterling's empire crumbled, a warning to those who mistake justice for weakness. For Elias, it was never revenge, it was Caleb's legacy, a promise kept against all odds.